So these are two of the original emperors of China. The heads are about 100 meters tall. And here they're in the park holding Ganoderma, which was reserved for the royal family many thousands of years ago. It's been called the 10,000-year mushroom, also the mushroom of immortality, because people can live better longer. These are all documented conditions that Ganoderma works against. Liver dysfunction, including chronic hepatitis, kidney dysfunction, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, number of forms of arthritis, insomnia, bronchitis, asthma, gastric ulcers, hardening of the arteries, low white blood cell count, meaning low immunity, diabetes, anorexia, and cancer, just to name a few. So just imagine if the drug company could have a drug that would do this, right? Wouldn't it be an overnight blockbuster? But you can't patent a natural molecule. So what does this herb exactly do? When we start looking at inflammation, the Time cover story calls inflammation the secret killer. All of us have some level of silent inflammation. Inflammation precedes repair, but there is a level where the inflammation becomes destructive. So they have a term in the literature called inflammaging. We know that one of the primary factors that age our cells, age our bodies, age our brains and everything in it is the inflammatory process. So it has implications for the brain, the immune system, the body, skin, sexual function, bone, and heart disease, all related to chronic inflammation. So there's this molecule, it's called nitric oxide, and that's what NO means. Heart surgeons or doctors knew for over 100 years that if you gave someone that was having chest pain nitroglycerin, if they put it in their mouth, under their tongue, their chest pain would resolve. They knew that there was something in it that would dilate blood vessels. So they had a whole team of researchers get together and try to find this amazing molecule. Once they found it, they thought, wow, we've got an amazing drug for cardiovascular health. One of the primary researchers on nitric oxide was a gentleman by the name of Nathan Bryan. After they discovered nitric oxide, the drug companies wanted to come up with, of course, another nitric oxide drug because they know that this molecule is so powerful. So they started looking at traditional Chinese medicines that had cardiovascular benefit, including Ganoderma. When they found that Ganoderma worked really well, what he said was the next step was to identify the active components in the traditional Chinese medicines responsible for producing nitric oxide. Nathan Bryan said this, he says, every time we took something out of the herb, it didn't work as well. So it wasn't something in the herb, it was the herb. So Ganoderma was the herb that increased nitric oxide. There's a synergy in nature that cannot be duplicated and cannot be isolated. Nature provides. It's got all the things that we need if we learn to use it wisely. When we start talking about cancer, U.S. has the highest rate in the world. Man's risk lifetime in the U.S. 1 in 2. Woman's risk 1 in 3. Before the age of 55, Americans' number one fear is cancer. After 55, it's actually Alzheimer's. Now, people rarely die from a single solitary tumor. What they die from is when the tumor spreads or invades or metastasizes. So what they did is they took highly invasive human breast and prostate cancer cells. That means it's the kind that will spread very easily. And when they gave them Ganoderma lucidum, there was suppression of cell migration, which means that it could protect against the spreading of cancer. Very powerful anti-cancer herb. When they looked at people that were going through chemotherapy, they found people that took Ganoderma generally had better quality of life, better well-being, less fatigue, less depression, etc. What it did is it protected the brain and the mitochondria from the toxic effects of chemotherapy. When we start talking about Alzheimer's disease, brain research, it says the results prove a hypothesis that the anti-aging Ganoderma lucidum, anti-aging, that means it's proven that it's anti-aging, can prevent the harmful effects of beta amyloid, which is associated with